Hello everyone, this is Jamie here. Welcome to another session of Vista Export Services. On a previous tutorial, I've shown you how to quickly camera match 90% of your photos with a click of a button using CameraMatch AutoSetup V6. In this session, I will be taking you through the process of camera matching a very challenging photo without any clear horizon line on dimension detail. So without further ado, let's start by setting up the scene before running the script. Under the Customize tab, let's click on the Unit Setup option here. I often set the display unit scale as metric and in meters. However, you can set it to any value you are accustomed to working with. This function only affects the numerical values displayed in the viewport, nothing else. Next, let's go to the System Unit Setup. Again, I prefer to use 1 unit to be equal to 1 meters. These are the only values that will in fact fundamentally change the scale of your entire scene globally. Let's click to close it. Now that everything is set, let's run the script. As you can see here, the script and the VP detector are in the same folder. Also, they are in a separate folder other than the C program files drive. Let's drag and drop it to open the script. In a previous tutorial, we had already discussed most of these parameters. Since then, I've added 2 new functions to export the camera data for transplant, seen here, and the import camera data for transplant, seen here. For those that already have the earlier version, simply download the updated version in a link, which is also updated in a new PDF manual. As mentioned earlier, let's load up a very challenging image to camera match with the camera looking downwards without any clear horizon line and no dimension detail. Next, let's click to Auto Detect VP and Apply to Camera. Click Yes to apply camera parameters and OK the Done dialog. Now an entire scene was automatically created with a new camera, a reference box, the render output size matching the image pixels, and the image inserted in a camera viewport background. As you can see here, the confidence score of this camera match is 0.28, which is low. It also makes it a very challenging shot to camera match. As you can see here, this is the camera looking downwards at the mall. Having said that, the camera parameters such as focal length, camera roll and others are already automatically set by the script, so there's no need to tweak these parameters. As you can see here, the camera parameters will automatically created based upon these perspective lines, which are accurate. To match the camera view, all we'll be doing is move the camera target vertically only until we match the perspective lines. Also, we'll be tweaking the camera vertical tilt correction to adjust the vertical line. That's it really, nothing else. Let's start by selecting the camera here. Double click here to activate the camera target and select the camera target here from the list. Next, enable the move tool and right click on it to display its dialog and begin moving it vertically only. We're going to assume that the horizon line is sort of here. This is the box automatically created to help us align the camera properly in the scene. Let's start moving the box in front of the camera and place the box below the camera because the camera is looking down. Note that we are not going to scale the box with a scaling tool. Instead, we'll be using the box dimension values to achieve the correct size. Let's move the box across to align it with the retail unit. For the purpose of this exercise, we don't know where the finished floor level value is. In some projects, the designers would have given us the basic plan of the retail unit, the finished floor level, and the retail height to work with. This data can help speed up the process more accurately. As you can see here, the box perspective lines are not currently aligning with the background photo vanishing line. As mentioned earlier, all we need to do is move the camera target vertically and tweak with the perspective control vertical tilt, and that's it. Let's select and move the camera target vertically downwards. Every time we move the camera target, you can actually see how the box perspective lines are aligning with the background photo. Now let's select and move the box down to be in line with the base of the retail unit. Let's keep moving the camera target vertically up and down and the box until we find a sweet spot. We can also increase the box height values to see how they align with the upper parts of the retail units. So the next step is to use the perspective control vertical tilt to align with the perspective line. Let's select the camera here and go to the modify panel. Under the tilt correction, uncheck the auto vertical tilt correction and begin tweaking with its value until the verticals line up with the photo. As you can see, the vertical tilt helped to finish aligning the camera. Now let's increase the box width and length to ensure everything is aligning correctly. Now that everything is set up, the next step is to match the real world dimensions of the photography environment. To do so, let's create a box to represent the height and move it down to align with the base of the other box. Let's 2D pan zoom into it to adjust its position. Right click and go to Properties to enable the Display as Box function. Let's align the box a bit further, assuming that from here to there is about 400mm with most shares. Let's open the Modify panel and set the box height to about here. As you can see here, it's currently showing the height being 1.1 meters, which means the scene is slightly too big. Set the correct scale of this scene globally. We are going to open the unit setup dialog again and set the system unit setup to reflect the correct value of this camera match. As you can see, currently 1 unit is equal to 1 meter. Let's reduce this value for the height of the box to be around 400 millimeters. You can actually see here the box height values changing accordingly and globally in real time. The correct unit value entered for this scene was about 0.24. Now that the scene has a real world dimension, we can now select this box here to see its real height, which is about 6 meters. Now the entire scene is scaled properly. This is the main reason why we should never use a scale tool to change its object size during the camera matching process. Once the 3D scene is set with a real world dimension, then we can use the scale tool to model other organic objects in a scene. The next step is to save the scene and maximize the camera match dialog. To export the 3D camera to another 3ds Max scene, let's click to export camera data for transplant, click to save and close the dialog, and accept the transplant export complete dialog. The camera match is now saved. The next step is to open a brand new 3ds Max scene. Let's open the unit setup and ensure it's set in a manner most companies normally prefer it to be. 1 unit is equal to 1 meter, or any unit scale your company often use. Next, let's drag and drop the script into a new scene and click to import camera data from transplant. Let's click and open the JSON file previously saved, confirm the camera transplant dialog, and click yes to bring the background image. Click OK to the camera transplant complete dialog. Now we have the camera and the background back in a new scene. This is what the import and export camera transplant does. Even the output size was set up properly according to the image size automatically. The final step is to merge in the 2 boxes from the previous scene. Select the 2 boxes only to merge, not the camera. Now that the boxes are in, let's select this one here and open the modify panel, check its dimension. As you can see, the dimensions are still the same as before, as they should. From this point onwards, we can continue building the scene. As mentioned earlier, shots where the camera is looking down are some of the most challenging ones to camera match, especially when you have no object dimensions or finished floor level values to refer to. Even in such extreme cases, we only had to focus on moving the camera target vertically up and down and tweak with the vertical tilt correction. That was it. There was no need to work out the camera focal length, camera roll, camera rotation, and other daunting parameters. 90% of the shots will be easy to camera match. For instance, let's quickly try another scene. After resetting, let's set the system unit setup as previously. 1 unit is equal to 1 meter. Let's open this interior image here and click to auto detect VP and apply to camera. Click yes to apply VP camera parameters and OK to the done dialog. As you can see, confidence score is 0.40, which is usable, especially when you consider 1.0 being the highest score. Let's select the camera, open the modify panel, double click on a camera target to enable it, enable the move tool and right click on it. Select the camera target and begin moving it vertically to align with the yellow line in the middle. This is where the horizon line should be. Now that the camera is set, select the box and begin moving it in front of the camera. Let's move the box vertically down to sit at the base of the photo where the floor appears to be. Enable the snap angle toggle and rotate the box to about 45 degrees. To move the box, choose the local view and begin moving the box. Next, reduce the box height values so it aligns with the kitchen top. Adjust it further with the width and length values. Next, let's copy the box across to the other side and align it with the photo. Let's begin copying and building boxes aligning with the key areas of the photo. Finally, to scale the scene accurately, we need to know or guess the dimensions of one of the objects in the scene. For instance, the height of the kitchen top to the left is currently 6 meters, which is incorrect. Let's assume it's about 800 millimeters from here to there. As previously done, let's open the system unit setup and begin changing the unit value until we reach 800 millimeters value. Note how the box values are changing in real time in the viewport. Now the entire scene matches the real world dimensions of the photograph environment. Let's save the file and click to export camera data for transplant. Let's reset the file, drag and drop the script into a new scene and click to import camera data from transplant. Select the previously saved JSON file to bring in the camera and set up the scene. So the scene is set up and the camera is in. Next, let's merge the boxes only from the kitchen scene previously saved. As you can see, everything is in and to scale. Let's try one last shot of a car. As previously done, let's set the scene system unit setup. Let's ensure it's set up properly before we start. 1 unit is equal to 1 meter. Next, drag and drop the script into a new scene. Let's bring in the car photo. and click to auto detect VP and apply it to camera. Click yes to apply VP camera parameters. Click OK to the done dialog. The confidence score is 0.63, which is usable. As you can see, even though the camera angle is oblique, the script was able to accurately pick the horizon line. Let's start moving the box in front of the camera to check how it aligns with the camera. As you can see, the camera is rotated and the box seems to be aligning with the photo angle. Let's now move the box vertically to align it with the road and center it with the car. After quick research on internet, I was able to find this car model specs here. The car model is a Honda CR-V. These are the dimensions. As previously done, we will tweak with the box's dimension values to fit the car in a photo. As mentioned earlier, never use the scale tool when camera matching a scene. Let's increase the box width values here to fit the car dimensions in a photo. Next, let's decrease the box's height values. Now that we have the proportions correct, the next step is to use the system unit setup to match the real world dimensions of the photograph environment. Let's start with the box's height here is 1.620 meters. Unit value of 0.142 was the correct one to get the height of the box to 1.620 meters. Everything else in the scene should have the real world dimensions in the photograph environment. Let's close the dialog. Now we can quickly adjust and move the box around the scene to match the photo because you already have the real world dimensions of the car. Once happy, let's save the scene and export the camera data transplant by clicking this button here. Save and name the JSON file accordingly and save the scene again. Let's reset the scene and close the script dialog. Bring in the car dimensions again. Check the system unit setup. Drag and drop the script back into the scene. Next, let's import the camera data from transplant as previously done. Test the scene created again with the correct camera scene settings. Next, let's merge in the box as previously done. And there you go. Let's check if the original dimensions came correctly. As you can see, everything is matching accordingly to the car specs, so the scene is good to go now. As mentioned earlier, 90% of your shots will be automatically matched. There's that 10% where the camera is looking down, the user doesn't have any finish floor level values and the dimension. Even in such extreme cases, all you have to do is select and move the camera target vertically up and down, tweak with the vertical tilt correction, and move the box reference in the scene accordingly to help align it with the photo perspective lines. And that's it really. I really hope you found this video interesting, and I hope to see you on my next one.